You're listening to the Health Powered Productivity Podcast by Rader Co. I'm Marcey Rader, keynote speaker, consultant, and your host on high performance. In each bite-sized episode, I'll discuss topics like relentless prioritization, time and attention guardrails that stick, meeting makeovers, remote work, and sustainable habits you'll actually keep. Share this with your team or use it as pre-work before your next meeting. If focus were fuel, most of us are driving on fumes. Yes, folks, sorry. This is the third time I'm using driving analogies, but it works for me. But the good news is you can top off fast with movement, breath, smart fuel. The right task at the right time. Energy isn't actually a mystery. It's a menu. Welcome back to the Health Powered Productivity Podcast. This is part 3 of our Attention Anchor series. We covered environment, then mindset, and today we'll cover energy. This is your on-ramp to deep work. I started with driving analogies, and I have to end with them. Now here's how we'll use energy as attention anchors. Quick movement, right time for the right task, breath that calms your nervous system, and simple fuel fixes. I'll keep it tight, practical, and doable in under 5 minutes when you need a fast reset. So first, we want to prime the brain. When you're foggy or queuing up deep work, take a movement snack or movement opportunity to prime the brain, like 30 seconds to 5 minutes. Do a set of push-ups, jumping jacks, 5 yoga sun salutations, 25 kettlebell swings. Do a brisk loop around the block while you think about the first line you'll write. This works because even a single bout of moderate movement gives your brain a boost in attention and executive function. It's true for most people, and it's especially useful if you are neurodivergent or have ADHD. And studies show immediate improvements after one session in kids and adults with ADHD, and meta-analyses in broader populations echo the acute exercise bump for executive function. My friend has an 11-year-old daughter that takes what they call brain breaks during her study time, and she gets 5 minutes on their trampoline. Not 5 minutes on Instagram or TikTok, 5 minutes of movement. And our very own Rader Co. marketing specialist, Lisa, is strongly encouraged by yours truly to exercise and get movement throughout the day, especially if she is working on something creative. And I just have to take a detour for just a second to say that personally, I think that making kids sit in chairs all day is cruel. To me, that is like punishment. And maybe, just maybe, they would have fewer disciplinary issues and more kids paying attention if they let them move more. And not just, we've taken away PE from a lot of schools, which hurts my heart. But, we've taken away that, but we also just don't even let them, they don't have a recess after a certain grade. We just don't even let them move. So, okay, detour over. If you need a creativity kick, walk. Walking reliably increases creative ideation during and shortly after. Treadmill, hallways, outside, walking wins. Doesn't matter. One study even showed that creative problem solving occurred when people were walking on a treadmill, staring at a blank wall. Staring at a blank wall, they were more likely to solve a problem creatively than if they were sitting at their desk. And there are different theories on why this could have these results, but we know that exercise boosts mood as well, which might improve divergent thinking. And I know, I have a client right now. He is a VP, and he's in a very intense situation right now. with work. It's like it's the timing of the year. He has a lot of reports to issue, and they're looking at budget for next year. And I'm trying to impress upon him, please go for a walk. Please go for a walk. And I know that in his brain, he's like, I don't have time to go for a walk. But he will have more time if he goes for a walk, because during that time, he might be able to reset his brain, prime it, and solve a problem or think more creatively when he gets back. I had another client that had a very difficult colleague that she would have regular Zoom calls with that would interrupt her all the time. And she felt very anxious and stressed after she would get off of these calls. And so I had her block out time on her calendar afterwards, after every time she had a call with this person, for 10 to 15 minutes for her to just walk and just get rid of that, to close the stress cycle, basically. You can't close the stress cycle if you're just going to your email after this meeting. And I read this in the book Burnout, but if you think about like dogs, will shake, we shake it out, and cats will kind of, shaking their hair will go out, and they'll do that curl thing with their back. They're closing the stress cycle. We need to do that too. So pick one now. Think 60 seconds of jumping jacks or one block outside, and then come back to your desk primed. The next thing is to task to your energy. Do your deep work when your energy peaks. For many people, mornings are prime time. For others, late morning or early evening hits the zone. My husband and Lisa, our marketing specialist, they are night people for sure. Lisa's kind of a morning person too, but she can do very creative work at night and stay up very late. I could not do anything creative late at night. I can barely keep my eyes open past 9:30 if I'm at home. So, think about which time of day is best for you. And chronotype research shows performance and attention vary by time of day. And if you think chronotype research sounds woo-woo, there are over 5,000 studies on chronobiology and circadian rhythm. It is a real thing. And you can actually find out what your chronobiology is by taking the quiz and reading the book, The Power of When. It is one of my favorites. I've read it twice, and I do not read books twice. Even without the book, intuitively maybe what your magic time is. Match your demanding tasks to your highs and save your admin tasks for the dips, which I call your zombie hours. And if your zombie hours live after lunch, schedule, reviews, email, easy wins there. And if you're not sure what to do during zombie hours, check out episode 111. Next, we go to breath that calms you. Did you know that we slip into screen apnea at our computers? Not sleep apnea, screen apnea. It's a real thing. I'm not making it up. We breathe shallow or we hold our breath when we're looking at screens close to our face. Our shoulders start creeping toward our ears. And the term was coined by Linda Stone. And once you notice it, you can't unfeel it. You breathe shallow or hold your breath. My husband does this all the time, and it drives me bonkers. I'll hear him go, and he's holding his breath, and when he's on his iPad, and sometimes I'll say, breathe, Kevin. And he's like, I'm breathing. But he is holding his breath. And now that I know that this happens, I'm very conscious of it. So 3 fast resets you can run anytime. 1, you can do a physiologic sigh or cyclic sighing, where you inhale through your nose, and then you top it off with a second shorter inhale, and then you do a long, slow exhale through your mouth. And you do 3 to 5 cycles. And just 5 minutes of exhale-focused breath work like this beats mindfulness for reducing anxiety in head-to-head trials. So it's an inhale, second shorter inhale, and then a long, slow exhale. through your mouth. Another one you can do is a 4-6-8 breath. I talked about this, I think, in every book I've written, where you inhale 4, it's a gentle hold for 6, and an exhale 8. You prioritize the long exhale because it nudges the parasympathetic system, or the rest and digest, and it settles the heart rate variability. And when I say gentle hold, it's because it's not an inhale 4, 1, 2, 3, and then hold and you're all clenched up. It's just a gentle hold. I don't want you to feel like you're like losing control. And then exhale 8. So I'll do 2. I'll count it off two cycles for you. So you'll breathe in, 2, 3, 4, gentle hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is the breath that I do actually every time I get in the car. Or almost every time. I try to remember to do this, but I've been doing this for over a decade. And that's because a lot of times when I get in the car, I'm rushing or something, and it kind of like brings me back to be focused. And so I'll do 4 rounds of it. You can also do box breathing, where you inhale for 4, gentle hold for 4, out for 4, and gentle hold for 4. And just 2 minutes lowers arousal and stimulus and gives you a clear reset between meetings. You can even do these on meetings, right? Nobody needs to know. So pick the one that works and keep it under 2 minutes if you're midday. This is a guardrail, not a hobby. You don't need to do it for 15 minutes. I promise you. Next is fueling smart. So brains hate dehydration, and even about 2% down can ding our attention and mood. So keep water within reach, sip before long blocks, but note that you don't need to drink a gallon of water a day. There's overhydrating and there's not being thirsty. We just don't want you to be thirsty. For me, I just like to have something beside my desk, and it's usually hot coffee, hot tea in the winter, or an iced coffee, or like a Poppy or an Olipop in the summer. And I'm just sipping on it all day. But also I'm speaking, I'm talking, I'm coaching, so there's a lot of just talking. So I need to stay hydrated from that. But it's also kind of a habit, because when I'm away from my desk, I'm not drinking as much. So I like to have my whatever drink I'm going to drink right there. And if you're hungry, eat, but skip the sugar roller coaster. Choose protein and fat and fiber if you can, rather than like potato chips or half a bagel or something like that. Think like almonds or cashews, apple with nut butter, jerky, carrots with hummus. You'll get steadier energy for longer blocks. And caffeine is a great tool, but use it wisely. So you want to time it and make sure you're not drinking it too late, because it can disrupt sleep within the 6 hours before bed if you take it. Because, you might fall asleep, but it might, when the caffeine wears off, it might interrupt your deep sleep. So you're protecting tonight's sleep so tomorrow's focus shows up. And you want to dose it. Keep afternoon hits small and save the rocket fuel for when you truly need it. And what they talked about in the Power of When book is, if possible, wait an hour after you wake up to drink your coffee, because then it's not competing with the cortisol and you won't need as much and you'll get a better cognitive benefit. So let's put it together. Our energy ritual. When you are about to dive into deep work, or you've just hit a wall, run this 3-minute sequence. Move 60 to 120 seconds. Push-ups, jumping jacks, fast walk around the walk, fast walk around the block, while mentally rehearsing your first step. Breathe 60 to 120 seconds. You can do like your physiologic sigh or a 4-6-8 with an extra long exhale. Do your fuel check. Sip water. grab a protein-forward snack if you're hungry. Make sure you're tasking to your energy. If you're in a zombie hour, then do a lighter task. If you're peaking, if it's your, magic time, then take your hardest bite first. And then roll straight into your mindset anchor. Write your one sentence, seal the channels, start the clock. And the environment, I should have said, make sure your environment's set up, and then roll into your mindset anchor. Energy anchors that work. Short movement, breath with a longer exhale, smart fuel and hydration, and the right task at the right time. If you can't concentrate, you're not broken. You're just low on input. And for me, I use all of these. I do movement breaks all throughout the day when my timer goes off, which I told you about my timer in the last episode. Or after a meeting or a client coaching call, I do some type of movement break, even if it's just like 25 push-ups, or I do some stretches, or I foam roll. And this gives me a great transition before the next client or meeting. I do breath work throughout the day. I take a walk at lunch. Even if I'm short on time, there is a 7-minute route that I do in my neighborhood. 7 minutes. And then I feel better. And then I always eat a protein and fiber-rich breakfast and lunch. So I have, I'm using the right fuel that day. This week, pair your energy ritual with your mindset and environment rituals. And before each deep work block, run a move, breathe, fuel in 3 minutes or less. Track it for 5 days and notice just how quickly your brain comes online. And if this helped, share the episode with a teammate who's running on empty. And if you're interested in training your team on these methods, these would be in my Elevate Your Focus and Everyday Energy presentations. Thanks for listening to the third part of the series for Attention Anchors. Thanks for listening to the Health Powered Productivity Podcast. Show notes link to every tool and takeaway. If you got value, subscribe, leave a review, and pass it along to your team. For more bite-sized tools and ways to work with Rader Co., whether through consulting, coaching, or speaking, visit helloraderco.com.